Travel back in time to the world of Starsky and Hutch, 1975 to 1979, the iconic police drama known for its high-speed chases, thrilling action scenes, and unforgettable characters that won the hearts of millions. The adventurous escapades on screen are etched in our memories, but behind the spotlight lie untold stories, the tumultuous real-life struggles of the stars. They faced hardships, loss, and personal battles that the audience could scarcely imagine. These private struggles, often battles that went unrecognized, ultimately led them to their tragic final moments. This article takes you on an emotional journey, revealing the untold stories of the Starsky and Hutch actors as they confronted the final chapters of their lives. Their pain and untimely departures are part of a larger story, one that calls for us to reflect and honor the stars who became symbols of a generation. Join us as we remember not only the marks they left on screen but also the tear-streaked paths that led them to their heartbreaking ends, as the light of their lives slowly faded away. Chuck Hicks, born in 1927, portrayed the recurring role of Marty and several other minor characters in Starsky and Hutch across 4 episodes between 1975 and 1979. A towering figure with a rugged presence, Hicks was not just an actor but also a skilled stuntman, known for his physical roles in Hollywood's golden age of action. His career, however, often left him in the shadows of the stars he supported. In his later years, Hicks grappled with financial instability, exacerbated by a string of failed business ventures tied to his post-acting life. He passed away in 2021 at the age of 93, from complications related to Parkinson's disease. Despite his long life, his twilight years were marked by solitude, as he had become estranged from many in his once close circle. His romantic life, though peppered with intense relationships, never found lasting stability, leaving him to spend his final days largely alone. Lynn Marta, born in 1945, played Helen Carnahan in 4 episodes of Starsky and Hutch from 1975 to 1978. Marta was a talented actress and singer, known for her charm and expressive performances. Her career shone brightly during the 1970s but began to fade in the following decade as roles grew scarce. Off-screen, Marta's personal life was a tapestry of romantic entanglements and heartbreaks, including a widely publicized and tumultuous relationship with actor David Soul, who also starred in the series. The relationship, though passionate, was marred by conflict, ultimately ending in bitterness. Despite these challenges, Marta continued to pursue her artistic passions. Tragically, her health declined in the early 2000s due to a combination of heart issues and complications from diabetes. She passed away in 2024, leaving behind a legacy of both creative triumphs and poignant personal struggles, a reminder of the cost of fame and the fragility of dreams in Hollywood. Dave Shelley, born in 1931, brought a quietly intense energy to his portrayal of Jeffrey Mills, a recurring character in Starsky and Hutch. Appearing in 4 episodes between 1975 and 1979, Shelley's nuanced performances reflected the dedication of an actor committed to his craft. Despite his talent, Shelley struggled to secure leading roles in Hollywood, often overshadowed by bigger names in an unforgiving industry. Off-screen, his life was marked by a series of ill-fated relationships. Each romance seemed promising but ended in heartbreak, as his partners reportedly found his deeply introspective nature difficult to navigate. Shelley's later years were clouded by a sense of professional unfulfillment and mounting health problems. In 1989, at the age of 58, he succumbed to complications from a rare autoimmune disease, a tragic end for a man whose life was filled with unrealized potential and unspoken sorrow. LaWanda Page, born in 1920, brought her signature blend of sharp wit and understated poignancy to the role of Mrs. Swader, appearing in 3 episodes of Starsky and Hutch from 1977 to 1979. Known primarily for her role as Aunt Esther in Sanford and Son, Page's turn in Starsky and Hutch showcased a different side of her acting range, proving she could balance drama with her natural comedic timing. Despite her success, Page's personal life was fraught with struggles. Divorced several times, she often channeled the pain of her failed relationships into her humor, turning tragedy into performance art. Her later years were overshadowed by worsening health due to diabetes, which eventually led to the amputation of both legs. In 2002, at the age of 81, Page passed away in Los Angeles due to complications from her illness. Her passing marked the end of an era for a performer who transformed her personal challenges into a legacy of resilience and laughter. David Soul, born in 1943, became a household name through his portrayal of Detective Ken Hutchinson on Starsky and Hutch, but his appearances in 3 other episodes as a supporting character between 1977 and 1979 highlighted his versatility within the series. Beyond his acting, Soul was also a successful singer, with hits like Don't Give Up on Us. However, behind his artistic achievements lay a turbulent personal life. Soul's relationships were often marked by intensity and instability, including a highly publicized and stormy marriage that ended in divorce. His struggles with anger management and alcohol addiction further strained his personal and professional life, often overshadowing his talents. Soul has faced declining health in recent years. David Soul passed away on January 4, 2024, at the age of 80, due to natural causes. Bernie Hamilton, born in 1928, was a commanding presence as Captain Harold Dobby, appearing in 91 episodes of Starsky and Hutch from 1975 to 1979. His portrayal of the no-nonsense, justice-driven captain grounded the series in a sense of moral authority, resonating with audiences. Hamilton's career in Hollywood, however, was not without its struggles. As an African-American actor during an era of racial barriers, he faced systemic challenges, often typecast in roles that failed to reflect his talent. Outside of his professional life, Hamilton's personal journey was marred by a series of unfulfilled relationships, each more fleeting than the last. Though he found solace in music and later focused on producing, the frustrations of his earlier struggles lingered. He died in 2008 at the age of 80, succumbing to cardiac arrest. His death marked the end of a life that, despite its challenges, left a lasting impression on television history. Peter McLean, born in 1936, gave a nuanced performance as Judge Raymond McClellan in 5 episodes of Starsky and Hutch between 1976 and 1977. His work as a character actor often added layers of depth to the roles he portrayed, but his career never quite reached the heights he dreamed of. Off-camera, McClane's personal life was a tumultuous whirlwind. A string of broken marriages and romantic entanglements cast shadows over his otherwise modest life, leaving him yearning for stability that always seemed just out of reach. In the 1980s, his health began to decline, and he retreated from the spotlight, battling alcoholism in isolation. McClane passed away in 2003 at the age of 67 due to liver failure, a tragic conclusion to a life spent grappling with personal demons and the elusive nature of success in Hollywood. Darryl Zwirling, born in 1928, brought his characteristically sharp and somewhat eccentric energy to the role of Mr. Thistleman in 5 episodes of Starsky and Hutch between 1977 and 1979. Zwirling was a consummate character actor, his most notable role perhaps being the ill-fated Hollis Mulwray in Chinatown, 1974. Despite his undeniable talent, he was often relegated to supporting roles that failed to capture his full range. Off-screen, Zwirling lived a relatively quiet but solitary life, marked by an unspoken longing for greater recognition. His romantic relationships were fleeting, hindered by his introverted nature and the relentless demands of his career. In his later years, he suffered from macular degeneration, which rendered him nearly blind and deepened his sense of isolation. He passed away in 2014 at the age of 85 from complications of Alzheimer's disease, a poignant end for a man whose nuanced performances often went unnoticed in the Hollywood machine. Ken Kercheval, born in 1935, appeared in 3 episodes of Starsky and Hutch in 1979 as Deputy D.A. Claiborne, bringing a composed yet morally ambiguous presence to the role. Best known for his long-running role as Cliff Barnes on the hit series Dallas, Kercheval's career was a roller coaster of triumphs and setbacks. His personal life mirrored this turbulence, marred by failed marriages and struggles with addiction. Kercheval's bouts with alcoholism were well documented, and though he sought treatment multiple times, the shadow of his addiction loomed over him. Despite these challenges, he continued to work steadily, but the toll on his health was significant. He died in 2019 at the age of 83 from complications related to pneumonia, leaving behind a legacy of both memorable performances and the bittersweet story of a life fraught with both achievement and adversity. Robert Tessier, born in 1934, lent his imposing presence to the role of soldier in 3 episodes of Starsky and Hutch in 1979. Known for his rugged, bald-headed look and steely demeanor, Tessier carved out a niche playing tough guys and villains in Hollywood. Off-camera, his life was a study in contradictions. While he exuded toughness on screen, he harbored a sensitive soul troubled by the typecasting that limited his career. Tessier's relationships were marked by intensity and impermanence, with his partners often struggling to reconcile the harsh exterior he portrayed with the vulnerable man underneath. His later years were plagued by health issues, and he passed away in 1990 at the age of 56 due to cancer. His death was a quiet affair, reflective of a life spent both in the spotlight and on the fringes of personal fulfillment. Suzanne Somers, born in 1946, graced Starsky and Hutch as Jane Hutton in 3 episodes between 1975 and 1977. Her appearances on the show coincided with her rise to fame, particularly for her role as Chrissy Snow in Three's Company. While Somers enjoyed immense success, her career was also punctuated by controversy, including a bitter dispute over pay equity that led to her departure from Three's Company. This public battle took a toll on her reputation and mental health. Her personal life, while outwardly glamorous, was marked by struggles with self-esteem and a tumultuous relationship with her first husband. Despite these challenges, Somers found resilience, reinventing herself as a businesswoman and health advocate. She passed away in 2023 at the age of 76 after a long battle with breast cancer. Her life story, though shadowed by struggles, ultimately shone as a testament to perseverance and reinvention in the face of adversity. Charles Cyphers, born in 1939, played the role of Arthur Cole in 3 episodes of Starsky and Hutch from 1976 to 1979. Known for his work in horror films like Halloween, Cyphers brought an understated intensity to his performances, making him a reliable character actor in Hollywood. Despite his success, Cyphers' career was marked by frustration at being typecast in minor roles, which often left him feeling overlooked in the industry. His personal life was equally tumultuous, with a series of failed relationships that he later admitted were exacerbated by his workaholic tendencies and bouts of depression. In his later years, Cyphers stepped away from acting to lead a quieter life. He passed away in 2024 at the age of 85, suffering from complications related to heart disease. His death marked the end of a career that, while not always celebrated, was defined by steady dedication to his craft. Alex Rocco, born in 1936, brought a commanding presence to the role of Thomas Callender in 3 episodes of Starsky and Hutch in 1977. Rocco, best known for playing Mo Green in The Godfather, was a master at portraying complex characters with an edge of danger. Off-screen, his life was marked by a mix of highs and lows. While his career saw peaks of success, his personal life was marred by tragedy, including the loss of his daughter in a car accident, a pain he carried with him for the rest of his life. His relationships were tumultuous, shaped by the emotional weight of his grief and the demands of his career. In his final years, Rocco faced a battle with cancer. He passed away in 2015 at the age of 79, leaving behind a legacy of memorable performances and a life shadowed by profound personal losses. Fran Ryan, born in 1916, brought her brassy and commanding presence to the role of the landlady in 3 episodes of Starsky and Hutch between 1976 and 1978. A versatile actress with a knack for playing tough, no-nonsense characters, Ryan enjoyed a steady career in television and film. Yet, behind her strong exterior lay a life punctuated by hardship. Struggling to find substantial roles as she aged, Ryan often lamented Hollywood's obsession with youth, which limited her opportunities. Her personal life was similarly fraught. Widowed early and without children, she led a largely solitary existence. In her later years, she battled health issues, including a debilitating stroke. Fran Ryan passed away in 2000 at the age of 83, succumbing to complications from heart failure. Her death brought an end to a life lived with resilience, though often tinged with loneliness and frustration at the barriers she faced in her career. Nicholas Worth, born in 1937, appeared in 3 episodes of Starsky and Hutch as Al, a character whose quiet menace mirrored Worth's talent for playing villains. Worth's imposing build and gravelly voice earned him a niche in Hollywood, but typecasting confined him to sinister roles, leaving his range underappreciated. Off-screen, Worth struggled with insecurity about his career and grappled with strained personal relationships. His marriage, while enduring, faced significant challenges, particularly as he coped with the pressures of an inconsistent acting career. In the late 1990s, Worth was diagnosed with bone cancer, a battle he fought with characteristic determination but which ultimately claimed his life in 2007. He was 69. His death marked the loss of a performer who, despite his struggles, left an indelible mark on the genre of suspense and crime dramas. Angus Duncan, born in 1936, played FBI agent Waldheim in 3 episodes of Starsky and Hutch between 1977 and 1979. Duncan's portrayal of a by-the-book law enforcement officer was characteristic of the type of roles he often played in his career, which was primarily filled with supporting parts in both television and film. While Duncan was a reliable character actor, his professional life was often marked by disappointment at not receiving the recognition he felt he deserved. His personal life mirrored this sense of unfulfillment. He was married multiple times, but his relationships were fraught with instability, and he struggled with balancing his family life and his career. As he grew older, Duncan faced a series of health issues, including complications related to diabetes, which ultimately took a toll on his overall well-being. He passed away in 2007 at the age of 71, quietly slipping away from the public eye. His death marked the end of a largely under-the-radar career, and though he left a legacy of steady performances, his personal battles remained largely hidden from view. Blackie Dammit, born in 1939, portrayed Charlie Deke in 3 episodes of Starsky and Hutch between 1977 and 1978. Known for his larger-than-life persona, Dammit often played rough-edged characters, bringing a unique intensity to his roles. Though he was a familiar face in Hollywood, Dammit's career never reached the heights many thought it should. His personal life was equally turbulent, marked by numerous failed relationships and bouts of excess. Dammit had a complicated relationship with fame, often feeling alienated by the superficial nature of the industry. He struggled with addiction, which led to personal turmoil and a reputation for unpredictability. Later in life, Dammit found a degree of peace, but his health declined due to complications from his past lifestyle. He died in 2021 at the age of 82, the cause of death attributed to complications from lung cancer. His passing, though largely private, underscored the tragic arc of a man who had lived fast and left behind a body of work that was both iconic and bittersweet. Born on December 28, 1922, Paul Pickerney played the role of Patsy Cairo in 3 episodes of Starsky and Hutch from 1976 to 1977. Pickerney's acting career began in the late 1940s, but it was in the 1950s and 1960s that he gained recognition, particularly for his role in the long-running series The Untouchables. However, despite his many roles on television and in films, his life was often overshadowed by personal challenges. Pickerney was married twice, and both relationships were troubled, with the failure of his second marriage in the 1980s being especially difficult for him. The loss of his career momentum in the 1970s and his struggles with finances and loneliness took a toll on his mental health. His personal demons were hidden behind the professional facade, but as the years wore on, Pickerney became more reclusive and melancholy. In his final years, he was left to reflect on a life of unfulfilled promises. He passed away on February 12, 2011, at the age of 89, leaving behind a legacy of television roles, but also a story marked by hardship, disappointment, and the sting of unrealized potential. William Prince, born on October 13, 1913, was an American actor who played the role of James Marshall Gunther in 3 episodes of the iconic 1970s TV series Starsky and Hutch, 1979. Though his role in the series was brief, his career spanned several decades, with appearances in numerous TV shows and films. William Prince, however, did not achieve the level of fame seen by some of his contemporaries. His life was marked by personal struggles, including his battle with alcoholism, which ultimately influenced his career and relationships. His tragic circumstances were exacerbated by a rocky marriage and eventual separation, leaving him with a sense of isolation in his later years. Despite the setbacks in his personal life, he continued to work in acting up until the mid-1990s. Prince passed away on February 5, 1996, at the age of 82. He had a peaceful death, but by the time he passed, many of his former colleagues had already faded from the limelight. His career is often remembered for his understated talent, but it's hard to ignore the sense of quiet tragedy that enveloped his personal story. Born on February 12, 1940, Richard Lynch was an actor known for his intense presence on screen. He portrayed Hitman Zane in 2 episodes of Starsky and Hutch between 1975 and 1979, often cast in roles that showcased his ability to play tough, menacing characters. Lynch's career, however, was marked by a constant struggle with his personal demons. In the early 1970s, he suffered from severe burns in a violent incident, which left lasting scars on his body and deeply affected his self-image. This physical trauma added to the emotional burdens that Lynch carried throughout his life. His marriage failed, adding another layer of personal turmoil, and his romantic relationships were often short-lived and fraught with bitterness. By the time he was a more established actor, Lynch had developed a reputation for volatile behavior, which led to periods of career stagnation. Though he continued to find work in the film industry, his life outside of acting was increasingly chaotic. He passed away on June 19, 2012, at the age of 72, reportedly due to a heart attack. His death was somewhat anticlimactic given the larger-than-life characters he portrayed on screen. However, his struggles with addiction and the scars of his past undoubtedly played a role in the deteriorating state of his health. Geoffrey C. Brown was born on December 28, 1945, and appeared in Starsky and Hutch as a character named Hood in a single episode between 1975 and 1977. Brown's role in the show was minor, but he was known for his ability to portray complex characters with an edge. He had a promising career in television and film, but his life, unfortunately, took a dark turn as he grappled with personal issues. Brown's romantic life was particularly tumultuous, marked by failed relationships and a struggle with commitment that kept him emotionally distant. As his career seemed to stall, he found it increasingly difficult to find substantial roles, leading to periods of unemployment and mounting frustrations. His personal instability was compounded by his heavy involvement in substance abuse, which further alienated him from family and friends. Brown passed away at the relatively young age of 69 on February 8, 2014, in an apparent suicide. His tragic death was the result of a combination of years of emotional turmoil, personal crises, and a career that never quite reached the heights he had hoped for. Though his contributions to entertainment were significant in their own right, the sadness of his personal life casts a shadow over the legacy he left behind. Michael Conrad, born on October 16, 1925, in New York City, was an actor best known for his role as Captain Mike Ferguson in Starsky and Hutch, 1975 to 1976. Despite his initial success in television and film, his personal life was filled with heartache and struggle. Conrad's career, though marked by notable appearances in various television series and films, became overshadowed by a series of misfortunes. In his later years, he was often confronted with health issues, including an ongoing battle with cancer. The toll of his illness, coupled with the loss of his wife, who had passed away from cancer earlier, left him emotionally drained. Tragically, Michael Conrad died on November 22, 1983, at the age of 58, from cancer. His death marked the end of a life that had been rife with pain, both personally and professionally. As Captain Ferguson, Conrad embodied the hard-nosed, tough, yet deeply compassionate officer. Yet, off-screen, he was struggling to manage the demands of his career and his physical suffering, adding to the sadness of his untimely passing. Paul Burke, born on August 21, 1926, in New Orleans, Louisiana, was an actor who appeared in Starsky and Hutch as Lieutenant Ted Cameron in 1976. Known for his portrayal of a tough yet likable law enforcement officer, Burke was a talented actor who seemed destined for more. However, the story of his life took a different turn. While his career never truly soared to the heights it could have, his personal life was riddled with the pain of failed relationships and lost opportunities. Married multiple times, Burke's romantic entanglements were often marked by turmoil. He struggled with the emotional fallout from his marriages, with some of his ex-wives describing their relationships as deeply unstable and full of conflict. His romantic disappointments were compounded by years of financial instability, which left him living in the shadow of his earlier success. Eventually, Paul Burke fell into relative obscurity, with few significant roles following his time on Starsky and Hutch. The actor passed away on November 13, 2009, at the age of 83. His death was linked to the consequences of years of heavy smoking, a habit that had ravaged his health. The toll of his personal and professional setbacks was evident in the frailty of his later years, and his passing was seen as a tragic ending to a career that had once seemed full of promise. Michael Lerner, born on June 22, 1941, in Brooklyn, New York, is often remembered for his role as the eccentric character Fat Raleigh in Starsky and Hutch in 1975, a role he played across 2 episodes of the series. Lerner's career would later see him become a familiar face in both film and television, known for his ability to play characters that were as complex as they were entertaining. However, despite his successes, Lerner's life was not without its own struggles. Although he kept a relatively low profile in terms of personal details, his professional path was often marred by difficulties in finding consistent roles that matched his talent. His romantic relationships were notably troubled, with several long-term relationships failing, largely due to his dedication to his craft, which sometimes left little room for emotional connections. As Lerner grew older, his career continued but began to plateau. He passed away at the age of 81 on April 8, 2023. His death, while due to natural causes, was still seen as a tragic reminder of how elusive true happiness and fulfillment can be, even for those who find success in their chosen field. Though he had found some fame and recognition in his later years, his passing marked the end of an era for those who remembered him best for his sharp and memorable performances, including his role in Starsky and Hutch. What do you think about the deaths of the actors from Starsky and Hutch, and who do you remember the most among them? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to catch our latest videos.